Hi, I'm Bridget Pasquinzo with Team Paz at Excel Financial Group, and today we're going to go over the top 8 keys for unlocking successful home loans. Now, these top 8 don'ts, if you will, during the mortgage process are applicable whether you're purchasing a new home or you're refinancing your current home. So basically, any home loan that you might be in the process of, these are your top 8 reminders and do's and don'ts for the process. So let's get started. Number 1, don't make employment changes. Now is not the time to fulfill that childhood dream of becoming a ninja. The bank wants to see that you have steady employment history and steady income. If you have to change employers, your best bet is to try to stay within the same industry. If you do need to change employers, please keep in mind that there will most likely be delays to your process and could cause some issues. If you can't stay within the same industry, be aware that that could seriously affect your loan approval and potentially cancel your loan process. So it's best, again, not to change jobs at all if you can avoid it. If it's unavoidable, though, you want to make sure that you're staying within the same industry if at all possible. Tip number 2 is don't forget that the documentation is required by the banks. We understand that this process has become a very in-depth profile, if you will, of all of your life's history. And the bank is going to want documentation on every little thing. Whether you've been divorced or if you've had a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, they're going to want paperwork to verify all kinds of information. So please be patient. We will do our very best to gather that paperwork in the very beginning when we're talking about your scenario and what your situation is, to make sure that hopefully we can minimize some of the requests that they might ask. Number 3 is don't make any major purchases. So that Lamborghini or that 4K flat screen TV will just have to wait until after your loan is done. If you do start to make any new purchases, that could adversely affect your loan and could jeopardize your approval. Number 4, along the same lines, don't get any new debt or any new credit inquiries. So even if, let's say you have an existing credit card, but you rack up a bunch of new charges on it, be very careful, because if your monthly minimum payments go up and your balance on your cards go up, that could affect your approval. The bank will double check at the end of the process to make sure that you have not opened any new trade lines or anything like that. If you're shopping, let's say at a store who offers you a discount if you open up a credit card, just tell them no thank you while you're in the process, because even that credit inquiry, even if you didn't open the account, could adversely affect your loan as well. So make sure that you're just not opening any new credit, not increasing your credit balances, and not allowing anyone to pull your credit while you're in the process, unless it's your loan officer and you have spoken with them ahead of time. Number 5 is don't panic when the bank asks for more documentation. It's not uncommon for banks to come back and ask for 3, 4, sometimes 5 rounds of documents. The banks are very particular about what they will accept as documentation and want to be sure that they're just getting the full picture of your situation. Number 6. No late payments. It's really important to show the banks that you can manage your money responsibly. So make sure that you are not more than 30 days late on any payment on your credit report. Even if it's not a mortgage, even if it's just a credit card or anything like that, make sure that you're paying all of your bills on time. Number 7 is no cash deposits. This one's a common one. A lot of times we see, for example, people who have garage sales and then they have thousands of dollars of cash and they deposit that money. Banks will not recognize cash deposits, so you can't use those funds necessarily towards your closing costs because the bank won't recognize that money. The bank needs to be sure that you don't have a personal loan out there somewhere or They just need to make sure that they can source that asset, those funds. So if you can't avoid it and you do need to deposit cash into your account, please be sure that you're speaking with your loan officer beforehand and you're making a game plan. So if you can at all, avoid it, but if you can't, make sure you're talking to somebody before you just deposit those funds, because the bank may not recognize those funds as available to you. And last, number 8, don't forget that we're your team. We want your process to be as smooth and successful as we can make it. And we understand, again, that this process has become daunting in recent years. So make sure that if you can anticipate any of those first 7 items that might happen during the process, that you're talking to your loan officer. Your loan officer will have the best idea of how to get you through the process and how to handle it and what documentation we'll want to see, just so that way you are being set up for success and everything goes as smoothly as possible. Thank you very much for your time. Again, I'm Bridget with Team Paz at Excel Financial Group.